Hello guys, welcome to another screencast, and in this screencast we will do a review of inequalities, which we already went over in class last week. And in this tutorial you will learn how to actually solve problems that involves inequalities. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's start with this example right here. We need to write and solve an inequality. I don't like this color, let me change it. Alright, so here we have a number decreased by -4 is at least 9. Now the very first thing I want to say is that at least means greater than or equal to. Alright, and then at most means less than or equal to. Okay, so you need to remember that. So number decreased by -4 is at least 9. That means whatever number that I subtract -4 from can be more than or equal to 9. So this is what at least means. More than or equal to. Alright, now how do we write this? It's being decreased by -4, so that means we have to subtract. So it's going to be a number x that we do not know, so it's going to be x minus -4 is at least, so it's going to be greater than or equal to 9. Now in the next example we have 3 times the number is less than twice the number added to 8. So again, let's underline the keywords. 3 times the number means multiplication. A number is less than twice means we have to do times 2. Less than, we know this will be the symbol for less than the number added to 8. So this one will be 3 times the number, which we do not know. 3 times x is less than twice the number, which is 2 times the same number, and then when we add 8 to it. Alright, so this will be how we will translate this one. They're not really that hard. You just have to remember your symbol, and the confusing part is usually right here, at least. Alright, so now we are moving on to solving the inequalities. Now before I do these problems, let me show you something. So remember with equations, whatever we do on one side, we have to do it on the other side. Well, same thing happens here. So for example, if I have 2 is equal to 2. So if I were to do times 2, I'll get 4 over here, but if I do times 2, I'll also get 4 over here as well. But watch what happens with inequalities. So if let's say I have 4 is greater than 2, right? And if I go ahead and I multiply both sides by a negative number, let's say a -2. Now watch what happened. I'm going to get here -8 more than -4. Now, is this a true statement? No, this is not a true statement, because we all know clearly that -4 is greater than -8. So in this case, whenever we multiply by a negative number, we actually have to flip the sign. We need to flip the symbol. So it's going to be -8 less than -4. Now this becomes a true statement. Okay, so this is one thing that I want you to keep in mind. Whenever we add, we multiply or divide by a negative number, alright, we need to flip the sign. Alright, so this is extremely important. So let's go ahead and solve these problems that we have here. Let me erase what I wrote here. Alright, let's get back to writing. So here, because we have -1/3, technically we are dividing by 3, so we could say we're going to multiply by 3, but since it is a fraction, it's a negative fraction, we can say we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is going to be -3 over 1, and we do the same thing on the other side. Now notice again, we are multiplying both sides by a negative number. That means I'm going to need to flip my sign. So the 3's cancel and the 1 cancel. I'm left with x. Again, I need to flip less than, and then we have 9 times -3, which is going to be -27. So the same example that we did with the 4 and the 2, we have to do it here. We have to make sure we flip the sign. Now over here we need to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal of -2/3, which is 3 over 2 negative. Okay, now everything here cancels out, and over here we can actually put a 1 to make it look like a fraction on this side. Now remember, we multiply by a negative number, so we need to flip the symbol. And 2, we can actually cross these out, so 2 go into 22 11 times, and we get -11 times -3, which will be +33. So don't forget, you're multiplying a negative times a negative, and your answer will be positive. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. So here we actually have a two-step equation here. Inequality, apologize. Again, we solve them just like we will solve normal equation. Please remember that whatever is attached to the variable, we do it last. Okay, so in this case so please remember that whatever is attached to a variable, we need to save that one for last because it's easier to break that bond. So here we have to get rid of the 7. Since it is +7, we need to subtract 7 on both sides. Now you can put a line right here so we can see clearly both sides of the inequality. So here we have 25 minus 7, and we will get 18. And here we'll divide both sides by -9, and now the 9's cancel, and here we have x. Now remember, because we are dividing by -9, we need to flip the inequality symbol, and x will be -2. Now to graph it on the graph, we will put a line, we'll put a circle on -2. Now the circle needs to be shaded in because we are including 2 in the -2 in the solution, because x can be less than or equal to -2, so we have to shade in the circle. And then from there, the scissor arrow this time is going this way, so we will be moving to the left, and we will shade the left hand side. Alright, so that one was a two-step equation, so let's go ahead and do that. So now I want you guys to go ahead and try this one. Pause, come back, solve it, answer the question, and then come back and get the answer. Alright, so here what we are going to do, I'm going to decide to move the x to be over here. Subtract x. Let's put all the x's together. So 2 minus 1, x. Remember, there's a 1 in front of the x, so that's still going to be x plus 3 greater than 5. And now we need to move 3 on the other side, so we have to subtract 3, and we have x is more than 2. Now again, the symbols stay the same because we did not multiply or divide by a negative number. And to graph this, so let's say this is 0, so here's +2 right here. So my circle in this case will need to be open because I did not, let me use a different color. My circle needs to be open because we are not including 2 in the solution. The number that we have to choose has to be more than 2. So 2 is not part of the solution. The arrow is going this way, so we need to shade in that direction on the right since it is more than. X has to be more than 2. So again, circle is open because we are not including 2 in the solution. If it was x greater than or equal to 2, then the circle will be closed. If it is less than, it needs to stay open. Alright, go ahead and try that one and then come back. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. Now notice here we need to solve for D. Alright, find some values that's going to be that D will be more than 13. Alright, so let's go ahead and we are going to go ahead and find solutions that would make this statement true for D. Alright, so again, first thing we want to do, remember whatever is attached to the variable, we save it for last. So we are going to save this and then get rid of the 8 first. So here we will subtract 8 on both sides. So on this side, I'm left with negative 5 over 6D. And then we have 13 minus 8, which is 5. Alright, now here, this is multiplication. So instead of saying we're going to divide by negative 5 over 6, we are going to say we multiply by the reciprocal, which will be negative 6 over 5. Let's do a quick recap right here. Remember, if I'm doing this division, 4 divided by 1, let's say 2/3, this is actually 4 times 3 over 2. We are actually multiplying by the reciprocal. So please remember this. You guys learned this in 6th grade. Please remember it. Dividing by a fraction actually means we are multiplying by its reciprocal. This is the reciprocal of 2/3. Alright, so we do the exact same thing here. So since on this side I went ahead and multiplied by the reciprocal, I have to do the exact same thing over here, which will be negative 6 over 5. Now because over here is a fraction, we can just go ahead and put this over 1 as well. And here you can clearly see the 5 and the 5 cancel, and the 6 and the 6 cancel, and a negative times a negative would be a positive. Now keep in mind, now with our symbol, because we are multiplying by a negative number, by a negative rational number in this case, we still need to go ahead and flip the symbol. So this is going to be flipped, and of course here the 5's cancel, and we are left with negative 6. Now we can go ahead and graph this. So let's say this is let's say we have 0 here, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and negative 6. So here I will, okay, so now we need to graph the less than negative 6. Now is my circle on negative 6 going to be closed or open? Go ahead and answer that, please. Okay, so the circle needs to be open because we are not including negative 6 as part of our solution, and our arrow needs to be going to the left. Okay, so you can see the arrow this way all the way to negative infinity. Now let's go ahead and do some problem. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this one. So we have here, Julia sells kitchen appliances. She receives a monthly salary of $2,250 plus a 4% commission on her sale. What minimum sales total must she achieve for the month if she wants her total pay for the month to be at least $4,000? Okay, so first thing we need to establish here, what do we know? So we know that she is making $2,050. So regardless if she make a sale or not, she will be making that $2,250. But however, if she wants more money for that month, she needs to make some sales. So since we do not know the amount of sales she needs to make, I'm going to call that S for number of for the amount of money she's going to make from sale. Alright, so and then what you're going to do to that, let's say she sells for $2,000. Is she going to get paid the whole $2,000? No, she's only going to receive 4% of that money. So she's going to get 4% of the sales that she makes. All right, so let's say she only sell for $2,000. They will only give her 4% of that $2,000. And we all know to do this we have to do 0.04 times 2,000. But since I do not really know how much sales she's going to make, I'm going to replace this 2,000 by S. That's going to show for whatever amount of money she sells for. So here it's plus 0.04 times S. So this right here will be my expression. But now they want to know, she wants to know how much sales she have to make in order to make at least $4,000. So what do you think the word at least mean? Go ahead and answer that question. Okay, great job. At least means she wants $4,000 or more. So I'm going to write the expression like my inequality this way. So whatever amount she wants it to be more than or equal to $4,000. Okay, and then from there, now what I want you guys to do, I want you guys to go ahead and solve this inequality to find at least how many sales she has to make. Pause, answer the question, and then come back and get the answer. Okay, so in order to get the sales, we need to first subtract the 2250. Okay, and these guys cancel and I'm left with 0.04 S more than or equal to 7. Alright, 1750. So let me bring up a cal very quickly. Okay, so here we need to go ahead and since I run out of space, we need to divide by 0.04 on both sides. And when we do that, when we divide both sides by 400, we will end up with $43,750. Okay, so that will be the amount of sales that she will have to make in order to earn at least $4,000 for the month. So that month she will have to sell $43,750 at least. So that means more than or equal to that amount. Okay, well, that was it for today, and hopefully this wasn't too confusing. And so I'll see you guys in class. Have a great one. Bye bye.